If you don't mind, if we just talk a bit about your story, what happened to you. So it was New Year's Eve 2011. You'd had a really tough year. You're there in the evening, you're on your own, you spoke to a friend, you'd had a bottle of wine, you'd arranged to meet out in a club in Manchester city centre. She'd backed out of the plans and you thought, well, do you know what? I know this club, I'm going to go there. I feel quite safe in there. I'm going to go and have a drink, which is what you did. And this is where things get a little bit hazy because somebody gave you a shot at the bar. You can't picture who it was or where it came from, but you think that maybe there might have been something in that drink? Or...
Yeah, because I went from being perfectly all right to pretty much comatose in a very short period of time. And on the CCTV, you can see the difference of me being OK, going to the toilets, coming back and collapsing.
And not at all.
And what's the timeline there? What happened there?
It's about 30 minutes, I think. I can't really remember. I don't really know a time.
Because you were
lapse.
asked to leave the club, weren't you? You say that you're not the sort of person that's ever been asked to...
Literally dragged me out, actually. They just sent me out on my way. Ejected me, yes, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So
and then what?
It's all really a blur. I don't really know what happened. Well, I know what happened now. I then came round... in a dishevelled state, begging for help, begging to get my bag. They wouldn't let me back in the club. They wouldn't help me. And it was these three people who still have never come forward. And I don't know what would have happened if they hadn't helped me get home. They paid for my taxi. They got me a taxi. They sent me to a safe place. Had that happened earlier on, then maybe this would never have happened to me in the first place.
It was when you woke up the next day, sort of confused and hurting, that you began then to put together the horrific ordeal that you'd gone through.
Your mind is a very good protector, as is your body. You go into shutdown mode, which I think was really clear.
Evident. Yeah, it really was.
You go into slow motion and you're just processing really slowly, and it kind of just goes into chunks and you don't really know into what's going on. You can't fathom it at all. And it took me most part of the day to come to terms with actually, hang on, why is my body hurting where it's hurting? Oh, I've got injuries. And then I, decided I better call the police because something really bad had happened.
And something that you really want to stress today is the reaction that you got from the police when you first turned up there. And what was that experience like? Because a lot of people would be scared to go that far. Do I really need to... Should I report this? I don't know what to do.
I think what a lot of people struggle with is the minute you utter those words, the minute you make that phone call, you make it real. And before you do that, it's something you don't want to be real. You're in denial. This can't have happened. I don't want this to have happened to me. But it's too late, it has. The minute you step over that line and you make that phone call and you say those words, then it changes. Your life changes. And the police were amazing from the very first
Principally, the
instance.
most important thing was you were believed.
Completely, without any doubt.
Because I suppose also, as Holly said, there are many people who don't come forward because they think, oh, I had something to drink, was I being a bit flirty, was I doing this, could it be my fault? And you say it is never your fault.
Never, ever. There is still a lot of social stigma surrounding rape, there is still a lot of fear, and there is still a lot of shame surrounding it. If I was beaten up, if I was mugged, if I was stabbed, would I be ashamed of that? No. So why should I be ashamed of being raped? And that's why I waived my right to anonymity. That's why I've shared my story. That's why I'm here today, because I want victims to know there is no shame in what's happened to you. You will get support. You will get through it. You do survive it. I'm living proof.
And something you said to one of our researchers I think is really key is that when you started to go down that process with the police, you felt like the control was given back to you, which I think in this where it is the absolute... Your control is so far from you. Somebody is totally controlling you and what you're doing. To be able to get a bit of that back, I think, must have been quite powerful, a powerful move for you.
Yes, it is. You're then suddenly calling the shots, and they take it very slowly and they take it at your pace. And they have to be thorough. The only way they got a conviction in my case was the thorough forensic examination they had from me. That's the only way they got the conviction. I don't remember that man. I don't know who he is. I could never have identified him. I never said I was raped. They told me that I had been. And so I would say to anybody, if there is any doubt, make the phone call, report it. and you will be believed and it will be investigated.
What would when the team spoke to you from Broadchurch, what did they say? What did they want to achieve?
We met with the writer and the producer. They came down to speak to us, and the first thing they asked was that, is this a good idea? Should we be broadcasting this? Should we be writing about this? And we said absolutely. Didn't even have to think about it, because it's very important that someone that's going through very much what Juliet goes through, that's gone through, that one is believed, and also that there's support out there, right support. And it's very much that, as an is for myself, that what Beth Latimer's going to be playing, it's very much that we will walk alongside someone through a very difficult journey and give them all the support they need and the time for them to make that decision, because not everyone chooses to report for whatever reason.
And at the end of the programme last night, the voiceover said if anybody has been going through something that's been affected by this, there are helplines on the website. After watching programmes like this, do you see a sudden rise in people reporting cases or feeling empowered in order to come forward?
Yeah, very much so. Any sort of awareness that's raised, we get busier, I suppose. Unfortunately for us, we are always busy, and we work with, men, women, children, and young people. So that's who we support.